Good afternoon, team. Our defendant in our complaint has recently gone through some long-term cash crunches and has been dealing with the finances. So turning our attention to the financials, how should a fiduciary appropriately have balanced short-term income needs with long-term financial goals?
That's a great question. Okay, so an owner has a fiduciary responsibility to keep the firm as a going concern. And in order to do that, they have to have a layered capital strategy. That means taking care of short-term income needs, but also taking care of long-term financial goals. So in the case of the short-term financial needs, you need to have enough cash on hand to meet the immediate needs of the business. So typically, that's going to be calculated on your cash flow forecast. You should be able to forecast what the next 1.5 to 2 months of cash requirements for your business are. And you should have access to that in cash and easily accessible credit. If you have less than 1.5 to 2 months of cash and easily accessible credit, you are running your business at very high risk. And that is not managing your fiduciary duty responsibly. Now, what I see is I see a lot of law firm owners who then take that to heart, but neglect the long-term financial goals of the company. So they begin hoarding cash, storing it up in all kinds of various accounts, figuring out ways to keep it in the business just in case they need it, which is also a breach of fiduciary responsibility because the owner has to invest in productive assets in order to meet the goals of the owners. The owner has personal, professional, and financial goals. And so you need to invest in productive assets. This is investing in productive marketing. This is investing in productive production. This is investing in productive specialty personnel. These are all the kinds of assets that are going to produce a return that are going to help the firm to grow and meet its long-term goals. In addition, the owner has a responsibility to provide predictable, consistent distributions to the owner as compensation for their risk, not just as salary for their work that they do in the firm. This is in addition to the wage that the owner earns as an employee of the law firm. So the owner, in their fiduciary role to financial management, has the obligation to balance all of those things. So you would see a well-run firm with cash on hand for at least 45 days of immediate cash outflows. You would see them investing in productive assets, and you would see them making predictable and consistent distributions to their owners.
As a follow-up question to that, excellent, excellent.
Can I just add one thing to that?
No, Arjan, you cannot.
Well, two things. One is just the parable of the talents. The parable of the talents.
Very well.
If you're hoarding cash in your firm and not putting it to productive use, you're like the one in the parable of the talents who buried the money, right? The fiduciary's responsibility is to put the money to productive use, right? If you don't have a productive place, a way to put the money to productive use in the business, then take the money out of the business. Because as long as it's in the business, it's at risk. Y'all get what I'm saying? And the second thing, because I want to reconcile